Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And if you're like me, you're in your late 20s, you're a total dork for music, and occasionally a little nostalgic for your youth, your teen years, your tween years. And as you may already know, music is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to bringing back some of those emotions and vivid memories from the past. There's actually a really cool article about it in Philosophy Today, which you can find a link to somewhere. And while there is a lot of music that came out during the mid and late 90s, early 2000s that I am very fond of, the songs I'm going to list in this video are of a different breed. They are tracks that I hated the moment they touched my eardrums, or songs that make me wince a little bit at the idea of having liked them at one time. Either way, they really make my blood curdle now. Here are the 10 worst songs of my adolescence. Thank you. Number 1. Okay, we are good on that. We don't need that again. Number 1, very few tracks in the rap metal world capture that pure essence of melodrama as much as this one does. Papa Roach's Last Resort. The band's breakout single sounded pretty badass once it first hit the radio airwaves, with that horrible, iconic guitar lead that would be practiced to death in guitar shops across America for years to come. And the track really stuck out against other popular metal tracks at the time for being a really gritty expression of suicidal thoughts. But in retrospect, the badass hardcore rap vocal delivery didn't really mix all that well with the tear-stained diary approach to the lyrics. Do you even care if I die bleeding? That's right, you don't. You don't care. What? Bring it. Come at me, bro. Some people might put Limp Bizkit at the top of the throne when it comes to these rap metal fusions being so terrible, but even they had a shade of intent when it came to their songs sounding kinda silly. For me, Last Resort really does take the crap cake, no question. Number 2, Sugar Ray's Fly. It hurts to even say it. You know, I don't really hate Sugar Ray in concept. I do think they have a few really catchy songs that I do enjoy, like Every Morning, and I do have a soft spot in my heart for the song Mean Machine. Mean Machine has a special place in my heart because it was on the Road Rash 64 soundtrack. But the really horrible and tasteless pop rock reggae fusion that happens on this song is like a terrible just mutation in modern music. The song really becomes excruciating thanks to the ad-libs brought by vocalist Supercat on the song, who I don't even know why he was invited to this in the first place. Spread your love and fly, hippie whippie, I whip it, hippie dabba, Lord of mercy. On top of the really terrible ad-libs that flow like sewage throughout this track, but this song is also host to one of my other least favorite lyrical cliches, flying. This guy just wants to fly, this guy wants to fly away, this guy wants to have you come fly away with him, this guy is learning to fly, meanwhile this guy believes that he can fly. It makes me wish that I could fly to another world where people don't think flying is such a big deal because flying technology is more advanced and readily available. Over here we don't have songs about Wi-Fi or Velcro or escalators. I really wanna go up these stairs without moving my feet, my feet, my feet. Number 3, Will Smith's Wild Wild West. Believe it or not, there was a time in American history where we thought of Will Smith as more of a rapper than a movie actorman. But as he was making this major transition from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to the big screen, he tried to keep a foot in one world and a foot in the other, producing some singles tailored toward the movies that he was appearing in, like Men in Black. A huge success for him in terms of a pretty entertaining movie franchise and a likable song. However, this sort of make a song for your movie practice also carried over into one of Will Smith's worst movies and worst songs as well, Wild Wild West. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that makes this song excruciating. I mean, it is in Will Smith's usual charming bad boy delivery. Oh, wiki wow, wiki 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 wow. Maybe what really bugs me about this song is that there is not a single good, clever, or entertaining punchline that seeps through the instrumentation here in its 4-minute runtime. Don't let your lip react. Don't want to see my hand where my hip be at. Damn! Big Willie killed it. He killed it. Straight fire for hire. No one more flyer than big ol' Willie. Even though this song does ruin a perfectly good Stevie Wonder track, I Wish, with its main sample, and I am pretty glad that we're past an era where music videos were regularly used to promote awful blockbuster films, I still wonder what could have been if Will Smith kept this practice up for other movies that he would put out in the future, like I, Robot and Hitch. And that Earth movie he did with his son. He could have spit a verse on it. I'm just going to say I think it's a terrible song and leave it at that. I cannot go too hard into this track because it would be a little hypocritical of me. Honey, text me. Number 4, Puddle of Mud. She Hates Me. In the world of post-grunge music, there are a lot of migraines. People say that Nickelback is the worst band in the world. A lot of people, including myself, cannot stand to listen to Scott Stapp rip off Eddie Vedder so unashamedly every time he opens his mouth to sing. But the thing about Puddle of Mud is that they don't even really have any single characteristic that is defining, which you could even hate them for, which in my book is a hateable offense. Pretty much the only weapon in this band's arsenal is to write a chorus that is so dumbed down that it makes the Bare Naked Ladies one week look like avant-garde poetry. Every time the hook to this track bashes its way into the song, it feels like I'm listening to a PG-13 Kurt Cobain sing in front of a bar band that plays for chicken wings every weekend at the local barbecue place. At number 5, we have Everlast's breakout single with What It's Like. A big change of pace from the early stuff this guy did with his own solo work and with House of Pain as well, both of which are infinitely more enjoyable than the very preachy set of verses dropped on this nightmare over here. Sort of a weird blues hip-hop fusion that tries to shove street thugs and homeless people and pregnant girls down your throat. Maybe it works for other people, but not particularly for me, which is a total shame because I do usually like songs that address some kind of wider social issue. But it's really the music here that is just too cliche for words, with the strings and the guitar leads at the spots, the all too smooth vocal delivery. Instrumentally, this song just has so many genre stereotypes that it doesn't actually make room for any sounds that are good. On our next track, we go totally nu metal with the title track to the Disturbed album Down with the Sickness. A track that's brooding, it's dark, it's dramatic, and absolutely terrible. Now, if you've only heard this song on the radio, which is where a lot of people have heard Disturbed and only heard Disturbed, then you might not be aware of what makes this track one of the worst songs of the 2000s. It's basically what I would like to call a domestic abuse solo over the bridge of the song, which is exactly what it sounds like. Frontman David Dramian basically goes right into this screamed monologue reenacting what sounds like his mother beating the shit out of him, which is in very bad taste and likely to bring up some horrifying memories for anybody who has had a history with physical abuse. Luckily, the only horrible memories that come to my mind when I listen to this track are having owned the CD at one time, which itself is a certain type of self-abuse from which I am never going to recover. Number 7, LFO, Summer Girls. With groups like One Direction topping the charts right now, boy bands are back. Yeah. But because I grew up with them, I still remember the previous era of boy bands and how much I hated them because I was a boy who liked rock music. But in retrospect, some of those songs were pretty catchy. Except for LFO's Summer Girls, which is most likely one of the most awkward and painful to listen to boy band type singles to come out of this era of music. Right from the get-go, it is very obvious that LFO does not have the singing ability, the production, the songwriting, or even the look to be a successful boy band. There aren't even 5 of them. I need a cute one, I need one with crazy hair, I need a mature one, I need a chubby one. And on top of a blatant insult to the culinary arts of the Chinese and an Abercrombie & Fitch advertisement, this song is also filled with whack-ass suburban white boy raps that don't really state anything. Yeah, Shakespeare wrote a bunch of sonnets, Paul Revere, pretty cool guy, and Michael J. Fox was in fact Alex P. Keaton on TV. We go a little deeper into the track to learn some likes and dislikes like macaroni and cheese and purple and Kevin Bacon, but not Footloose. Oh no, you love hip hop and rock and roll. Your dad took off when you were 4 years old. Wow. We turned down some dark territory there. That is something I rather would have not had out there, and I told you that in confidence. At number 8, we have the Cherry Poppin' Daddies with Zoot Riot. Remember when white people reviving swing music was cool? With the exception of the Squirrel Nut Zippers, me neither. At number 9, we have what is most likely the most infamous novelty song of all time. All time. And I say novelty because it is so novel for such a huge pop song to attack deep, like subterranean philosophical issues. Socrates, Locke, Kant, Plato, Marx, Nietzsche, all collectively contemplated for centuries who let the dogs out. This track is such an excruciating combination of modern hip-hop and dance music production styles with Caribbean sounds. Sonically, the song is as attention-forcing and grating as a police siren. I personally find the song to be as fear-inducing too when played in a public place. Am I about to get arrested? I start looking around, I get worried, is someone in trouble? Is there something terrible happening near me? And our final song in this list of reasons that the end is near comes as a result of the Latin explosion, in which a lot of artists did cause some headaches, but none more, for me anyway, than Bega with Mambo No. 5. Essentially, this song is a really awful, poppy, club-friendly, electrified piece of Latin jazz, a genre that you should never, ever, ever avoid. Actually, you should deep dive into while completely avoiding anything that is this or sounds like this. There's all these really awful record scratches on this song, a really cheesy beat, some lifted horns, and lyrically, what a terrible track. Sort of approaching, women as if they're ice cream flavors. A little bit of this one over here, a little bit of this one over there. But I think the worst thing about this track that bothered me right from the get-go is that it sounds like a commercial for something. It just sounds like one big fat advertisement. And unfortunately, once this song died down in radio play and in popularity, it became advertisements after being leased out numerous times to appear in various television spots and TV shows. I heard this thing redone on Bob the Builder. I heard it in a Guinness ad. I heard it in a Party City ad. I remember hearing it in some kind of weird fruit vegetable PSA at one time as well. It's like a few years go by and my brain is able to very slowly put dirt on top of the pile and dig this song's grave for me in my memories, but then some horrible company leases the song out and uses it in a commercial and reminds me that it existed at one point. And that is my list of the 10 worst songs of my adolescence.